The summer sun beat down on the Scudda Field projects, baking the asphalt and glinting off the metal railings of the balconies. 7-year-old Rico, a blur of energy, darted between his cousins and the neighborhood kids, their laughter echoing through the humid North Memphis air. It was a typical family gathering at Grandma's, a whirlwind of barbecue smoke, booming Tejano music, and the joyful chaos of children. Everything was normal, at least until the Frisbee came out. Rico, not yet a master of aerodynamics, launched the bright orange disc with more enthusiasm than precision. It sailed wildly, veering sharply from its intended path, and with a sickening thwack it collided with the windshield of a parked car. A spiderweb of cracks instantly bloomed across the glass. Rico froze, his heart seizing in his chest. From the corner of the brick wall where he'd instinctively retreated, Rico watched as the car screeched to an abrupt halt. The driver's side door burst open, and a man, a silhouette of fury against the glaring sun, lunged out. A glint of cold steel caught Rico's eye. A gun. The man stalked around the front of his car, his eyes narrowed, scrutinizing the damage. Rico pressed himself against the rough brick, his small body a tremor of fear, peeking around the edge just enough to observe. The man's face contorted, his anger escalating. He began to scan his surroundings, his gaze sweeping across the project buildings, searching for a culprit. Rico held his breath, willing himself to be invisible. He watched until the man, still muttering curses, turned and stomped off towards the main building, his back disappearing from view. This was his chance. Rico sprinted, a small, terrified blur, across the patchy grass and through the open front door of Grandma's house. The lively sounds of the gathering faded as he flew up the stairs, his feet barely touching the worn carpet. He crept into the furthest room in the back, a dusty space overflowing with forgotten treasures, old furniture, and stacks of clothes. He burrowed deep behind a mountain of fabrics, pulling them around him like a flimsy shield. Hidden in the musty darkness, Rico's mind raced. He pictured the man, the gun, the shattered windshield. Would he come back? Would he shoot up the house, indiscriminately firing into the joyful chaos of his family? He sat there, curled into a ball, the seconds stretching into an eternity. Each creak of the floorboards, each distant laugh, sounded like the harbinger of impending violence. He waited, a small boy consumed by a giant fear, for the chaos to erupt. But it never did. Slowly, the oppressive weight of fear began to lift. The distant sounds of the party became just that, distant sounds. He waited a little longer, then cautiously he emerged from his hiding spot. He never spoke a word of it, the secret a heavy stone in his young heart. Rico recognized it as an early root of trauma, a seed planted in fear that blossomed into a lingering unease. He also saw it as an early spiritual battle, a glimpse into the unseen forces that can impact us, leaving indelible marks. Yet, within that raw memory, he also found a quiet comfort. He remembered the stillness in that dusty storage room, the inexplicable sense of peace that had eventually settled over him, and he knew, with a certainty that transcended logic, that even then, in his fear, God had been his protector, a silent presence comforting him in the darkness.